What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JJD TV. I'm your host Josh, and I'm here today with a little transfers rumors episode. And there was a lot of transfer talk yesterday, so I'm not sure exactly when this video is gonna be out, but yesterday there was a good chunk of transfer talk, and there was a couple names that I thought was very interesting that's been linked to the club, which I'm going to discuss. And I'm also going to discuss a player of ours who's actually been linked away from the club. So to kick it all off, we're going to talk about the fact that Zorc basically said that we're not going to be looking to buy any players. And a little disappointed to hear that, mainly in the center back position, because I thought my genius loan signings episode for center backs could, persuade him, but apparently not. That's totally fine. So we're going to be sticking with the three center backs that we have, and I guess just hope for the best. We're going to see maybe if Piszczek comes in and plays a little bit more, or even Chan dropping back. We have to do something to address the fact that Akanji and Hummels are going to potentially get tired and potentially get hurt, so they have to be rotating. But it was stated that no one's going to come in, but it wasn't stated that no one was going to go out. And the first player of the three players we're going to be discussing today is Mahmoud Dahoud. And we're going to be talking about him because everyone who is a Dortmund fan this season knows that he's the mystery. He's a player who, like I've mentioned a lot of times, I assumed he wasn't going to be even at the club at the start of the season. I thought he was never really fancied, and he'd probably be on its way. He came in, he only played 5 games this season, but has looked amazing, in my opinion, in just about all of them. And then all of a sudden, he's just not there. He wasn't fancied by the end of Fabra. He wasn't fancied by Terzic, and doesn't even get on the traveling squad half the time. So it makes sense that he's being linked away. However, Axel Witsel was injured. We had 5 center defensive mids who could play in our 4-2-3-1. Chan, Bellingham, Delaney, Witsel, Dahoud. Now, usually, ideally, you have 4, so you have coverage for each one. But with Witsel being down now, that means we have 4. So if we sell or loan out Dahoud, that leaves us with 3. And it doesn't, in my opinion, unless we promote someone from our U23 team, it doesn't make a ton of sense to do that. I would much prefer, just for this tail end of the season, having the experience of Dahoud rather than promoting someone from the U23, on top of the fact that our U23 side is playing amazing, and I don't want to, throw off that feng shui, but I really don't think we need to do it. So having Dahoud being linked right now to a move to potentially Marseille or Monaco kind of rubs me the wrong way. He's even, I think, been linked to Sassuolo over in Serie A, and I wouldn't want to see that happen right now in January. If we're not doing any transfer business, that's fine. We absolutely shouldn't let anyone go, even though I prefer to bring someone in. So let me know what you guys think about the Dahoud situation. I mean, clearly he's on the outs. He's a player that people are actually wanting to see play, but he's obviously not. So the decision is going to be made probably in the summer about his future, but there is rumors that he could potentially leave in January, which kind of scares me because I don't think we need to deplete our squad anymore, knowing the current situation we're in, and everybody that we have, we might as well try to utilize while we have them. But then that's going to go on to actually players that are being linked to the club. And like I just said, no matter how much they're getting linked to the club right now, it's not going to matter until the summertime, but it's always fun to talk about, fun to speculate. So there's been 2 names that are also center defensive midfielders. This is going to be the center mid / center defensive midfielders episode. So we talked about Dahoud is going to get linked away, but now we have the one that you guys are more than likely knowing who I'm going to mention, and that's Florian Neuhaus from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's been linked to a move to Borussia Dortmund. He's been linked also to Bayern Munich, but being linked to Dortmund is kind of nice because this is a kid who's playing in sensational form right now. I think he'd be a welcome asset to this team, and there's also that little plot line. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't want to mention the managerial situation. Terzic could potentially turn it around, but I mean, the way it's looking, Marco Rose looks like there's a huge chance he may potentially be our manager. We have this thing with Gladbach where we like to, take their managers and players. So, I mean, it would not shock me whatsoever if Rose becomes our next manager and then, brings Neuhaus with him, because why not? I mean, we do have that tendency, but I think it would be a very solid idea because I think Neuhaus could be the heart of our center defensive mid for years to come. We could even address it and play a 3-4-3, whatever it may be, but Neuhaus could be a huge part of that. I definitely rate him. I think that he's a player who can actually honestly score goals, even though he sometimes sits deep in that 4-2-3-1 formation. On top of the fact to be a familiar face for Marco Rose if and when he does potentially come to this club, and I say we beat Bayern to the punch. I mean, if those are the 2 names that had, and even Tottenham now right now being linked to him, but in my opinion, I say we go all out for him. The big issue is obviously what's going to happen in the future. I know there's a lot of speculation right here, but if we don't get Champions League football, that could almost ruin it because he's getting listed about now for about 40 million. That's give or take about where he is. So it would be a good chunk of change to bring him to the club. I absolutely think it would be worth it. But we're just going to see the way that goes and where Neuhaus' future lays. And I hope it's with Borussia Dortmund. And let me know what you guys think about that one as well. And then the third player we're going to be talking about today, we mentioned the team briefly because this team's been linked to Dahoud, but that is Sassuolo's Manuel Locatelli. And Locatelli is a Italian international. He was originally with Milan, went on loan to Sassuolo. Now he plays for Sassuolo and is honestly a huge figure in that team who keeps every single year overachieving, considering you look at their personnel and how they actually do. This guy is someone who can really just shut down that midfield, and he's a player who, again, I would welcome at Borussia Dortmund. I don't think we need Neuhaus and Locatelli, but depending on which one comes, I would gratefully take either one of them. They're both young, early 20s in their prime, going to be internationals for their respective countries for years to come, in my opinion, and big players to whatever team that they go. I have no problem being linked to Locatelli, and I mean, whether we get him or Neuhaus, I think in that next season could be a huge benefit for our midfield going forward, and linking them up with potentially Jude or Delaney, Chan, whoever it may be, could be just a huge rejuvenation to that squad, especially looking like Dahoud will be on his way out. So those are three little transfer talking points that's going around. I wonder what you guys have to think about them. Do you think Dahoud is going to leave either in January at the end of the summer? And do you think we're going to be going for either Neuhaus or Locatelli, potentially both? How do you see it playing out? Do you think Mark Rose will have any little, say in any of that? But I mean, I'm really excited to see it happen. There's not obviously a lot of transfers to talk about right now because Zork said, we're not doing any, so it's just fun to speculate. So I hope you guys do enjoy this little transfers episode, and if you're new around here, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.